Have you ever come home from vacation and said, that was amazing, but ouch, my wallet? Like, that was great, but I didn't expect to spend so much. I didn't expect, there's all these little things that came up that I ended up paying for or doing. And it's like, man, my pockets hurt. And I say this from personal experience, vacations that I've taken in the past where I'm like, it was a great experience. I had a wonderful time. I really enjoyed myself. But at the same time, kind of it wasn't a wise decision the way that I went on the vacation, right? So a lot of things that I teach you guys or share with you guys, it's based on like personal experience. I'm talking from the lived experience of going through the thing. So today we have a couple key learning objectives that I want you guys to walk away from. I want y'all to have this in your back pocket. So the first thing is I want y'all to understand the emotional and financial importance of a vacation budget, right? I tell you guys pay yourself first. I tell you to build your emergency fund. I tell you guys all these different things, but I want to make sure that at the end of the day, you're still having fun. Like tomorrow's promised to no one. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. So we want to still budget. And this is where our fun money or living wealthy account comes into play. This is our vacation budget. I want you to be able to apply the 3 phases of vacation budgeting, right? This is a method that I've created to help you guys have more clarity, have more awareness, have more foresight as you're planning on going on your trips. I want you to tailor your budget to the type of travel that you're doing, right? Whether you only have $1,000 and you're going to do a mini trip, or you got $20,000 and you're doing a Euro or whatever big trip you want to do, I want to help you tailor your budget to whatever type of travel you're planning on doing. And I want you to avoid the most common budget traps that people fall into. So by the end of today's session, these are the 4 main things you're going to be able to walk away with. All right. So let's get into it. The pain of post-vacation regret. This is what so many people have. There's that pain. This is that same thing of that was a great trip, but oof, my wallet. Now, vacations are supposed to be unforgettable. You just got back from wherever, maybe it was Bali, maybe it's Cancun, maybe it's just you went to visit Montreal, right? You just got back from the trip. It was wonderful. You got to take all these pictures, you got to make all these videos, you had a great time. But now your bank account is begging for mercy. It's like, why did I spend all of this? Why did I put this on that credit card? Why? I derailed my financial mission because I wanted to have an experience. And it doesn't necessarily always have to be like that, right? Vacations are to refresh, to reset. They're not for regret, okay? In fact, you learn so much about yourself. You become so much more than you currently are when you go on vacations, when you take times to step away from where you are right now. This is why we actually created the MITM Club retreats. I don't know if you guys know this, but I run retreats. The last one we did, it was last year, we did a yoga retreat, right? Because we believe and strongly believe that you need to leave where you are to become who you must. So vacations are very important. It helps you learn so much about yourself, and that MITM or 6 pillar retreats are a huge part of that, right? So it's meant to refresh. Why is it that so many people, they feel like they traded their freedom for financial panic? I know so many friends of mine that are like, yeah, I just came back from, well, a lot of people that I know go down to Mexico. So I'll say Mexico. I just came back from Mexico, but can I borrow $100 because I don't have my emergency fund set up? It's like, you just went on vacation and spent like $2,000, $3,000. What do you mean you don't have $100 for whatever the small thing you need is now? All right. People often fall into this panic, and it's not wise. It's not good. It's not a good place to be. You want to be financially empowered, right? Vacation should be about joy, clarity, and rest, right? This is the whole reason why we're leaving. Without a budget, it becomes debt, stress, and disorganization. Like, it's actually crazy. I didn't know that people do this, but the travel sites now, I don't know how long they've been doing this, but like, I don't like to travel too much. I just like to build what I like to build in silence, travel here and there. But I was looking at some trips and they're like, hey, do you want to like schedule this out to like 20 payments so you don't have to pay for everything now? You take a little bit now and you put it forward. So I'm like, hey, if I'm gonna do that, I might as well use my infinite banking account. I'll finance it myself and pay myself back in 20 payments. But a lot of folks, they're looking at just like the Klarnas or the whatever things on Amazon where you see you can stretch out, you want to buy a water bottle for 20 bucks and like you can make 10 simple payments of like, same thing for our vacation. It's crazy. We don't want that. So a lot of people, they end up getting in debt, then they get stressed and they feel even more disorganized, more disempowered than before they went on the trip. But the trip is supposed to refresh you. What's going on here, right? Let's go to our next slide. Budget is intention. It allows you to align your trips with your values. So the more that you align your trips with your values, the better the trips end up being for you in the long run. One more person that's joining. Welcome everybody.
Recording in progress.
I see two iPhones. I'm not sure who the iPhones are. If you want to change to your names and I could say hi to you, but hey, welcome. It's good to see y'all's. I just need to make one small shift here and we are golden. All right. So yeah, the anytime you budget, and like my girl taught me this, because a budget is not just saying like, hey, this is what like my expenses are gonna be, or like this is what my bills are gonna be. It's also like this is how much I need to spend. This is how much I'm supposed to spend. Not just this is the minimum that I need to spend on X, Y, and Z. It's like, no, by the end of this, my budget should be at zero because I've actually put all of my money in all the right places in advance. Right? This is a part of the intention, something I didn't even know before. I'm just like, budget just for all your basic stuff. No, budget is saying it should be zero. Your balance sheet at the end of the day should be at zero. So it's like, I budgeted this to go on vacation. I should spend this when I'm on vacation. I already planned and allocated all of it, right? Something a lot of folks don't think about, something I didn't know up until a couple months ago, maybe last year around this time is where she first shared this with me. So your dream vacation shouldn't start with a destination. It should start with a number. The clearer your path is, the freer your travel will be, right? What is the number that you're working with? Because then you know, hey, am I trying to fly first class or am I flying economy? And jumping to do as many, what are there? Forget it, maybe layovers, maybe you're switching planes, it's not a direct flight. You're trying to find the cheapest option. You're trying to fly out on a Wednesday instead of a Saturday or Friday. Like, I don't know. Or maybe you're saying, hey, I want to take the private jet to go on my trip. Wherever you are, your number will give you an idea of where you should start and how free your travel is going to be. Are you traveling with 7 suitcases, or are you going to be traveling like how, I don't know if you guys seen these social media posts where like these Asian students are saying, look, this is how we travel with no bags, and they like layer all their clothes on the plane and make like a neck pillow and stuff it with sweaters and shirts, and they're like, yeah, we have no bags, but they have the fishing shirt on with all the little pockets all over it to stuff things in. Hey, what does your travel look like? Because it's possible if you plan for it, right? Now, there's 3 phases of this budgeting method that I want to share with you. The 3-phase budgeting method. The first phase, phase one, is pre-trip planning and setting the foundation. Like a lot of people do pre-trip planning, but maybe you don't do it like this. And maybe I'm gonna show you, put you guys on some game today. Let's see. So your budget based is based on your savings, not on credit. I don't want for anybody here to be saying, I'm gonna go on a trip and I'm gonna put it on a credit card. That's the last thing that I want to see anyone do. It's the quickest way to fall into debt and way more stress, right? So, how much are you budgeting? How much are you putting aside? How much are you saving? Right? Your trip is meant to feel good before, during, and after. Throughout the whole thing, you should feel good. You should feel great. You should be excited as you pick out the place and you're scrolling and you're making your Pinterest board on what your dream vacation's looking like or what the vacation of the year looks like. You should feel good doing all that. You should feel good while you're on the trip. Otherwise, what was the point of taking the trip if you're stressing out while you're there? Thinking, oh man, I got to work overtime when I get back home. It's like, no, you want to just enjoy the trip, right? And afterwards, you want to look back and say, I still feel good. Not I get smacked in the face with a big bill I got to pay. You want to feel good all the way through. Okay. So, based on what your savings are, and there's different tools you guys can utilize. So, use what you save, not what you can borrow. Okay. I'm drilling these things in over and over because I really wanted to stick with y'all's, right? And you can use tools like the spreadsheet that I shared with you guys before. And I'm kind of jumping ahead of myself like I always do, but like the spreadsheet I shared with y'all before, just add in a travel line so you save a percentage for your travel, right? Decide your total budget up front. How much money do you really want to spend? How much money are you setting aside to actually enjoy your trip, right? Pick a total number that fits your lifestyle. If you're a student and you're broke and you don't got much money, it's okay. You can still travel. Maybe you just got to look at all the travel blogs around that says how to travel as a broke student. Like they exist. There's so many people that travel the world that are like they're doing couch surfing, they're checking out hostels, they're checking out, they're trying to earn as many points as they can on their credit cards. so that their flight is offset. They're doing whatever they can. That maybe they're flying somewhere and then they work a certain amount of time while they're there so they can pay for the travel and keep on going. And they're backpacking and walking places instead of driving or Ubering or whatever it might be. Or maybe you're someone that's older and more seasoned. Maybe you're a little further in your career and further in life. You're like, listen, I'm too old to do that 20-year-old stuff. I want a cushy flight, okay? I want to enjoy. I'm trying to be in first class. Champagne, please. Chop chop. Like, what is the number of what that trip looks like that fits your lifestyle? And mind you, you should have your 3 month emergency fund, your 6 month emergency fund before you start planning really big trips. Okay. The baseline is to have 5% of your income going towards your living wealthy or your fun money, and that 5% is what's paying for your trips. So when you say the total number that fits your lifestyle, you already have a number in mind. What is 5% of your income times how many paychecks that you're getting? And by the end of the year, there's your money to go on a trip. And as your lifestyle expands, you make more money. That 5% we want to turn to 18%, we want to turn to 20% because you have more funds, and then you shift your trips accordingly. All right. Ask, what can I spend without touching my emergency fund or my investment funds? I've seen way too many people. In fact, I've been guilty of this in the past. I'd say the first trip that I went on back when I was like, I don't know, 22, 23, I was doing a thing where I'm like, look, I don't spend $5 bills. Every $5 bill that I get, I don't spend. And I was going to invest it. I was going to buy Tesla stock with it. And I got talked into going into it on a vacation. I feel like a dummy because the $1,300 or $1,400 that I spent to go on this vacation for a week that I wasn't really, the greatest vacation. It was a terrible island in Cuba with terrible food, and it wasn't even the main island in Cuba. I was off somewhere else that I couldn't like. Not happy about it. If I had that money in Tesla like I planned, that was my investment fund, I'd be way richer right now. Okay, I'd have way more Tesla stock than I do right now because it was so cheap. I probably, what would I have? I'd have like 7 Tesla shares. And even then, that's before the stock split because the stock went up by a lot. They split into five. Then it was like $4,000 per share. Even like, man, I'd be richer than I am now, right? So you want to make sure you're doing things in a way where you're not touching your emergency fund, you're not touching your investment funds. Okay. What can you spend without going into those two? Now, your budget picks the destination. So many folks ignore this. They don't let their budget choose where they're going to go. Okay. Let your budget choose. Be realistic. Don't go and say, I want to spend 5K to go to Paris, but you only have $1,000. It's just not a good starting point. You're going to end up using, because even when you go on trips, you think it's 5K, but it's really six. It's really seven. Because there's all these little things that came up that you didn't think about or didn't plan for. Or there was that really cute bag you wanted to buy, or there's that gift you had to buy for so and so, whatever, whatever. You end up pulling more money out. Okay. So don't try it. Don't overextend yourself from the beginning. Be realistic with where you're starting. Use travel filters like Google Flights, the Explore tool. It'll help you match your budget to real options to see where can I go? Where it makes sense for me to go. Okay. Okay, number 4, break it down by category. Break it down, break it down. Okay, we have flights, we have accommodations, we have food and drink, activities and tours, transportation, emergency buffers, travel insurances. And so many folks they skimp on the travel insurance, unfortunately. It's like $30 depending, and it covers so much if your bags get lost, if your trip gets canceled, etc., etc. Okay? Emergency buffer. The last trip I went out with my girl, we budgeted for a certain amount and I planned in for an additional 20% right away. I didn't even tell her about it. And I'm like, I'm putting this money in here. I'm not going to tell her that it exists. It's here with us in case anything happens. We have some extra cash because I know if I told her about it, she'd want to spend it. And my goal is to come back with that same money. But I'm like, I already planned for it. If we end up spending it, it was already planned for. But at least we have some protection for us, like cash on hand in case I need cash to move fast, right? So make sure you have your emergency buffer. Step 5, use budgeting tools. I've already given you guys things like the Google Sheet, the MITM Club Google Sheet, which breaks down everything. You can use that and just change it a bit to then be for your travel. Most of the things that you use in your day-to-day life, you're going to still need when you're traveling. Do you need Wi-Fi when you're abroad? Do you have to get whatever SIM card locally? Where are you staying? What are you eating? Like, what do you use the local shampoo, or do you need your own and have to buy one down there or whatever? Like, you have to budget for all of that regardless. So the spreadsheet that's to help you budget your life works perfectly for vacations. Like, it seamlessly will work. Trust, right? You can use apps like Mint or Travel Spend app for mobile planning. This makes things a little bit easier. I mean, I like the spreadsheets, I like Google Sheets. But for those of y'all that like to be on your phones, this is a great tool. You can use Nomad Wallet or Trail Wallet if you're really trying to just be digital. Okay, it makes life a lot easier to just be on the go and have it in your pocket, ready to go quickly. Now you can start saving automatically. I've already talked to you guys about things like Tangerine. I've already talked to you guys about the money rules, how to automate your savings so you don't think about it. You can open a separate account, call it Adventure Fund, call it something fun, and then set up auto transfers. It could be $10 a week. That's 500 bucks for the year, right? Or 520 bucks for the year, right? That's pretty good. It's a good little mini trip. If it's $100 a week, you can see the difference. $5,000 for a trip. Set up a little bit, little here and there in a way that you won't really notice it. So when it's time to plan the adventure, to plan the trip, the money is there and ready for you to rock. Okay. Yeah, name your account something exciting, maybe a Tulum 2025 or Freedom Fund or whatever. I like to call it my wealth capture account, Living Wealthy Fund, whatever it may be. All right. So you can actually go out there, enjoy yourself. And that takes us to the end of phase one. Okay. All of the pre trip work that we need to do before we actually go into the trip itself. Okay. Next, we have phase two. During the trip, stick to the plan, but stay flexible. How many people have went on a vacation and kind of went over budget? You know, drop a one in the chat if you planned a vacation, you're ready to go on vacation, and you went over budget some way somehow, right? I know that I definitely have in the past. I'm like, look, I'm not spending more than this exact amount over here, and then next thing I know, you know, I'm 500, I'm $1,000 over budget, right? Yep, yep. Holy. So I want to share what y'all to say. Well, let's see how we could actually stick to the plan. Right? Stay flexible, but stick to the plan. You can set a daily spending cap. This is what I did. It made my life so much easier when I went down to have my trip. And I'm like, yo, we can spend free, but every day we have this. This is the budget, right? This exact amount that's in my pocket. So you can break down your full trip budget into per day amounts pretty simply. So yeah, $1,400 for a 7 day trip. You have $200 a day. What I did is I used envelopes, right? I took envelopes out. I had 7 different envelopes. I'm like I literally wrote Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I think I was on it. Was it a 10 day trip? I think I was on a 10 day trip. And I wrote every single day what the budget was. Now, my goal was to go back to the hotel with more money than I left with. My girl's goal was to spend all the money that we that we left the hotel with, right? But by having those envelopes, it actually helped pace the spending. So we had enough for the whole time. We're out, you want to get something nice? It's like, nah, this is not, we're not getting that because it's going to throw off the whole budget. It doesn't make sense right now. So maybe tomorrow, if we see it and you still want it, we can go back and get it. But today, this is the budget we have because we still want to go eat this place. We still want to go on this excursion. And although they tell you the excursions cost a certain amount, there's always extra stuff for there. Always extra stuff that they're trying to say, hey, did you get your snorkel? Hey, did you get that? Hey, did you get this? Here, buy it here with us at like 50 times the original price of the thing, right? So if you have that daily budget, helps you pace your spending and it'll help you avoid mid-trip panics where you're like, oh my God, we're 3 days into my 3 week trip and I spent 70% of my money, right? You don't want that. You don't want that at all. Split your money into categories. Okay. So like I said, I had my day-to-day things that I had set aside, but you can split it even further. Here's 3 simple travel buckets, and I'm not going to make them load one at a time. I'm just going to try and pull them up all at once. Here we are. So essentials, meals, transportations, and entry fees, right? One bucket. Experiences like excursions and unique activities, the things that you want to take pictures of to say, hey, look, I was here, right? Souvenirs, these are just additional splurges. So maybe souvenirs, spa days, or upgrades. Like I think we upgraded when we were down there, like, hey, we want to go from regular folks at this hotel to the VIP members because I like to drink. I love certain drinks and I want them all the time and I want room service and stuff and they weren't offering that for other people. I'm like, well, what's the point of being on vacation if I don't have room service, right? So we budgeted to be able to splurge and upgrade to what we want, right? These are things if you set it and plan if you set it and plan it, it's easier to just live it and just roll through it. Track as you go. Keep track, right? And normally if you're going with two people or more folks, one person normally is trying to track, the other person trying to spend, but it's a good balance, all right? Don't wait until you're home to tally the damage, right? For me, every night when I got back to the hotel, I'm like, okay, what do we do today? And I treat my finances the same wherever I am. I don't care if I'm on vacation. I don't care if I'm here in the city. I treat it the same. I keep my receipts. I keep track of what I spent where. I like to know where my money is going, right? We have budget for tips because you get better treatment. This is true. They remember you because you're tipping them and they give you better treatment or preferential treatment, right? So when it comes to tracking, you can use apps like Trail Wallet for iPhone. You can use Travel Spend, which is for iPhone or Android, or you can just use the notes on your phone with little emojis for different categories. Say I spent this here today, smiley face. Man, they talked me into this thing to I don't know, whatever, sad face, like whatever, right? Bought this bought this thing that I didn't really want. The salesperson was just so pushy, sad face, whatever, right? Yep, timeshare scams, avoid them. Avoid timeshares, guys. And here's the thing, like some timeshares are really good. Other timeshares are terrible. So you don't want to get a timeshare while you're on vacation. Those ones are terrible. But you can research one and plan for one and look into one while you're here at home and you can shop around different ones. Because timeshares are good, but the ones you get while you're on vacation, they try and sell you quickly while you're there. Terrible. Okay. Don't get those ones. We have Rosa said it's true. I worked at a hotel and I see our guests always have the receipts put aside. Yes, because it's so much easier to say, okay, what did I spend here? What did I spend there? What did I do? And yeah, they do hold you hostage in a timeshare. They do. So when you have your receipts, especially if you're traveling for business, you can then go back home and say, hey, I had to do this, that, and the other. I was looking at property, I was filming content, I was at a seminar, whatever. You keep your receipts because just because you went abroad doesn't mean that the things you spent were not a write-off. Okay? Just like we talked about taxes before in a couple months back, same thing still applies, right? So utilize it. Let's keep it rolling. Avoid the tourist trap trifecta. Okay. Avoid the tourist traps. Yes, it's great to be a tourist sometimes, and it's terrible to be a tourist sometimes. They trap you. The impulse souvenirs. Like, I know when we were looking at souvenirs, we saw ones that we thought were cool, and then we searched a bunch of other stores and compared them like for one day we're just walking the strip looking at different places, and when we made it all the way to the end of the strip we actually had written down the souvenirs we were most interested in, and we walked back, took our time in the stores again, and found really great prices. Like the places that were closer to the hotel were charging like 20x, and I'm serious when I say 20x for the same souvenirs that the ones who were a little further out where like hey, three for a dollar, four for a dollar, but at the hotel it's like one for 20. It's crazy, right? But we wrote down what we wanted, what we thought were cool, and we shopped around. Just like hey, if we shop around online, and we got to really spend time with each other and enjoy that, right? So avoid the impulse souvenirs. Just because they say it's at a place and only at a place doesn't mean that's true, right? Now, if you're going on an excursion and they have their own specific stuff. Like I think I got my Mayan calendar birthday reading, and I got my Mayan sign, what Mayan god am I aligned with, and all that shit. And that was just at the one place. Like you can't get that anywhere else other than this one spot with the natives. At least that's what they were saying. Cool. That's something I'm like, all right, I'll pay for this here. But the little keychains that are everywhere, and they're trying to tell me it's only here. I call cap. All right, stop the cap. Don't believe you. Um, Overpriced attractions, right? A lot of the time, there's attractions that are like, there was this one show, and I'm just talking from experience now. There's a show, they're like, yeah, this show, it's like $100. But as we looked into it, like, yo, we're gonna stand up all night to watch this show and pay you $100 per person to be here. Like, that's not it. Like, I'm good. I don't need to go watch the show. I want to sit down and enjoy some dinner and do something else. Like, let me go zip lining or something more fun. Then we have currency exchange, right? Exchange counters with high fees, something that I didn't even realize, is to ideally exchange your money before you go to the place. You guys can see how much of a noob I am when it comes to traveling. Exchange your money before you go to the place so you don't have to deal with the exchange down there. And maybe do some research before you go to the place. So you're like, I'm not trying to go to just any and any exchange counter, right? Some exchange counters have really high fees. You got to shop around those too. Are the ones in the airports the best? Are the ones that are in the town the best? It really depends. And sometimes it's better to just use your credit card because they automatically do whatever conversion and you're blessed, right? Sometimes it really depends. So plan 1 to 2 splurges in advance, and this will help you avoid spontaneous overspending. That ends our phase. Avoid the tourist traps. Okay, no, we're still on phase 2. Okay, stay flexible but not flimsy. Okay, you want to stay flexible. You don't have to be super rigid. Just like with anything, if the wind blows, you want to bend and not break, right? But you don't want to fall over and topple over. So don't overschedule. Some folks, when they want to go on vacation, they try to plan every single minute of the day. You're going to drive yourself nuts. You're going to burn out. Don't do it. Okay, plan a longer vacation, or be excited to go back again and do the things you didn't do. Leave space for free time, for sunset walks, for museums, for local hangouts, to actually meet with the people that live in that place, to vibe with the people that live in that place, right? Sometimes you make the best friends with just the locals, right? So don't overschedule yourself. Don't obsess. Adjust as needed. If something really, really special comes up, you got to rebalance it elsewhere. Like we had a really cool deal. The hotel hooked us up with another, because we upgraded to VIP members that were staying there. They hooked us up with some great excursions, but we didn't originally plan for that excursion. So we had to balance out somewhere else, right? So do that accordingly. Limit your card uses to big expenses only. Okay. Use cash or preloaded travel cards for daily spending. That will make your budget real. It'll also protect you. Like, I don't know how many people have experienced their credit card not working abroad, but I'm pretty sure if you use the preloaded Visa with 500 bucks, it'd be less stress on you than having your actual card all the time and something happens, heaven forbid, it gets locked because you forgot to call your credit card company and tell them you're doing the thing. You're traveling XYZ. Now you're on the phone trying to get your card unlocked so you can spend money instead of enjoying yourself. Okay. Cash and pre-loaded cards, wonderful. Okay. Just make sure the place you're going to will accept the cards that you're preloading. But I'm pretty sure Visa and MasterCards are pretty used all over the world. Right. Track your rewards points if you're using a card, but only spend what you've already saved for. Because you can still be getting rewards points while you're on vacation. Keep that in mind. Right. But don't go overboard. This is where your current vacation gets to pay for your next vacation just for you. Right. So I'm curious, and I'm asking y'all, how would your last trip have changed if you had daily spending cap and a fun money category? What would be differently? What would be different for you, right? What would you have experienced differently? And you could drop it in the chat if you want. You can send me a PM if you want, or you could just think about it. How would your last trip have been different? How would it have changed if you had some of these tools in them? This game that I'm putting y'all on today. Okay, let's move on to phase number 3. Post-trip review, reflect and reset. Yes, we had to plan before we went. We had to manage ourselves while we were there. And now we get to look back. Okay. And it's not just about, hey, what did I spend? How much did I spend? We want to look back and, well, let me get into it. All right. So you just unpacked your bags. Let's unpack your budget. We've already limited your card use. Wait, what's happening here? Yeah. We limited card use to big expenses, right? So compare what you actually wanted to actually spent versus what you plan to spend. All right. So now you get to look and see, this is what I spent. This is what I planned. Did I go over budget? Was I under budget? Or was I right on the money? Okay. And now when you're planning your next trip, you have a little more foresight to say, well, we really loved eating those tacos. We need to spend more money on that next time, budget for more of that next time. Like, or I didn't realize that this place ended up being this price when the last few years we went, it was that price. We got to budget a little differently. Or Hey, Canadian dollar is doing great. We're richer than we used to be. Let's spend more next time. Okay? We never know. Look at what you actually spent versus what you plan to spend. Why is this twice? Compare actual, yeah, I know I have this twice. Ask where did I go overboard? What categories was I right on target? And did I forget any expenses? Right? Did I forget about I need Wi-Fi? I need to pay duty when I'm crossing whatever border. I need, you know, what did I forget about? What categories were great? Do I need more money next time for my fun money? Do I need more money to eat out next time? Do I need more money for getting around? I didn't plan. I didn't know that it would cost so much to go from this place to that place, and I didn't plan according. What do you have to shift for next time? Okay. Save these numbers in a folder labeled My Trip, name and date, and this will start to build your personal travel playbook. So now as you're going, you're starting to become a globetrotter, right? You'll start to have an idea of what things cost in what places. So the next trip you're going on, the next adventure that you're going on, you're more aligned. You can just flip through your book and say, well, last time I went to the Maldives, it was like this and that and that and this, and I have an idea of what I like to spend more on and what I'd like to spend less on, because your budget's not going to be the same for everywhere you go in the world, right? Last time I went to the Philippines, this and that and that and this. Last time I went down to the States, right? Wherever you're going, have your own little travel book. You can start to have your own little travel guide. And heck, who knows? Maybe you can monetize that, because we monetize everything over here, right? So maybe you say, hey, this is my little travel book. I've gone to 50 places, slap it online, make a blog, and start charging people to access it. There you go. Millionaires in the making. Help then that helps pay for your next trip. Okay. So just something that's cool that you'd probably find some value from. Evaluate, was it worth it? Right? Was the trip to that location worth it? Did it align with your mission, your goals, your visions, how you see yourself, who you want to become? Right? Which expenses made your trip feel amazing, and which expenses were more filler or regret purchases? So what did you feel good about? What would you be so excited to go back and spend again? Like, and I when I go back to my favorite hotel, I'm telling you, I'm living off those tacos. They were so good. I need to go to other places, but I want to go back to this place because I love the tacos. I don't care what anyone says. I felt amazing. I'll spend all the money on it again. Well, what things were filler or did you regret purchasing? Right? What things are you like, hey, next time I can skip that? Reframe yourself. Okay. Not every cheap thing is a win, and not every expensive thing is wasteful. You got to find the balance. Okay. Sometimes there's a lot of value in the more expensive items. Maybe you're buying some clothing and the quality is just so much better. Instead of getting the cheap shirt that says insert country, insert location here, right? You went to somewhere, you got something nice, and it's lasts for years. You can go back and enjoy it over and over again. Instead of buying the really cheap souvenir, you bought something more classy, more elegant. You could have a nice showpiece or something that you actually use, right? These are things to consider. So another question is, if I could redo this trip with the same budget, what would I double down on and what would I skip? I mean, you guys, I'm a recovering foodaholic. I love tacos. And I definitely was drinking way too much when I was down there, but I love cream liqueur and it's so good. And I would double down on both of those. Okay. So what would you do for yourself? All right, what do we got next over here? Over here's. So replenish your vacation fund immediately. Start to put money back in that account right away so you can go on another trip soon, right? Don't wait for the next time to start saving. Don't wait for, oh man, it's another year. No, the second you get back, just make it automatic. Heck, there's something called a roundup. So every time you spend money, I'm sure that like almost all the banks have this set up. So every time you spend money, a percentage gets moved into another account. If travel is really, really important to you, set up something like Roundup. So every time you spend a dollar or you spend $4.93, they round up the difference between the 93 and the 93 cents and $5. That's 7 cents different. They put into an account for you, right? You could start saving right away, no matter how big or small your budget. Ah, here we are. This already started saying this. Set up an automatic transfer within 7 days of returning, even if it's $10 a week. That'll give you some money to play with at the end of the year. This builds momentum. This reduces future stress, and it keeps the travel dreams alive without having financial fear. Okay. Number four, build on the habits that you used. Maybe your next trip is the stepping stone to build your financial future. If you take all of these things that I share with you today, let me actually see. There we go. If you take these things that I share with you today and you applied it on a trip, when all these things are happening, all you're going different places, moving here and there, you remember to use your envelopes. You remember to use your different buckets. You remember to only use what you set to pay for and use within that day. What would happen if you came back and you did the same things? How would your life change? How different would things be for you, right? So if tracking daily expenses worked, keep it going. You already were doing it on vacation. When it's that much harder to do it, now you're back in your routine day-to-day life. Keep tracking your daily expenses. If the cash envelopes helped, use them at home. For me, the cash envelope, like anytime if I find myself starting to lose myself financially, I'm starting to lose my way or get lost, I go back to the old envelope system. It works. It helps. It just simplifies it. It's kind of stupid proof, right? If it helps, use it at home. Travel budgeting equals life budgeting in disguise. You get to step away from your day-to-day life. You're learning all these new things about yourself. You get to grow as a person because you get to see the world. You get to hear different languages. You get to eat different food. You get to breathe different air. You can be a different person. So if you've always had financial stress, if you've always been bad at budgeting, you've always been bad at dealing with money, but you really needed to go on a trip, use it as a springboard to become more than you are. Like it's a beautiful quote to say you got to leave from where you are to become who you must. And if you leave from where you are, so many things are different. It's called a pattern interrupt. Okay? A pattern interrupt. And you can use that pattern interrupt to build out the rest of your life, right? So plan your next trip intentionally. Reflect while the memory is fresh on all the things that you loved, all the things that you hated, and everything in between, right? And start to think of the places that you want to go, the budget range that you'd like to go in. Like I personally, like my last trip, I think I spent like 6K. I don't think it was enough. I think I want to be more like in the 10K budget, right? And see what that's like because I don't want to have shitty seats on the plane ever again. Like ever again. I want for them to bring my clothes to my everything to my hotel. In fact, I've been talking to Anna about it. I'm like, listen, I'm cool with waiting for a trip for a little bit because I'd rather just like having it my assistant just send my clothes there. I don't want to even think about luggage. That's the place that I'm trying to be in. All right. That's my goals, my dreams. You guys have your goals, your dreams. I'm thinking larger than life here, right? So what budget range do you want to be be in? What activities brought you the most joy, right? I love ATVs. Love ATVs. Let me ride them all the time. What travel styles align with your life goals? Maybe you love backpacking. Maybe you love private jets. Maybe you like boating. Maybe you like whatever. Maybe you like driving cross country. I don't know. What makes sense for you? Write it down. Okay. Your dreams are possible when you write them down. And the question I have for you, last question for this segment, is what one lesson from your trips, or what is one lesson from your last trip that you want to apply to your next one, financial or otherwise? Just like all the other questions, feel free to drop it in the chat if you want or send me a PM. I'm curious. I want to know what's going through y'all's minds. Quick recap. The three phase budgeting method. Pre-trip planning, set your foundation. During the trip, stick to your plan, stay flexible, not flimsy. And post-trip review, reflect and reset, right? So this is pretty much the outline. Now, we have a couple of different travel types that I'm gonna share with y'all. It's like road trips. Everyone likes a good road trip. You get to explore your country. You get to see sights you've never seen. You get to learn new music that as you're traveling with your friends or whatever it may be. You know, you get to play, I don't know, punch buggy. Like I don't know if people still play that. But road trips. Here are some key considerations when we think about road trips. Plan for fuel, for food, and for spontaneous stops because you never know where you're going to want to stop, where you're going to want to eat, what crazy thing is going on. No punch buggy, no punch back. Let's go. You're never gonna know if you're gonna need some first aid for all that punch buggying that you're doing, you know? We have camp or budget motels, and whatever works for you, think ahead. Okay, what kind of trips are you trying to do? Right? In the chat we have, I would, okay, I'm gonna go back up. Said I might feel more controlled, but I see the benefit. Oh, I might feel more controlled, but I see the benefits. This is true. Yeah. Sometimes it can feel a little controlling as we're budgeting for our trips, but you know, there is something, there's discipline, there's freedom and discipline, I should say, right? But there are a lot of benefits there. Punch buggy, no punchbacks. Yep. And I would research the place I would go, like the weather, the cost, food, and what's nearby the hotel, et cetera, et cetera. Yep. Yeah. More research is often, it'll give you more ability to move around in different ways that you didn't think of before, right? Before you went to the place. Okay, the next type of trips is resort versus international, right? So oftentimes there's hidden fees, there's hidden taxes, there's different excursions, there's tips, like there's all these little things that you want to budget for on top of just getting to the place, right? Plan for them before you get to the place. International, budget for insurance, for visas, and for the local costs of whatever may be there, right? I got to go through security and they're saying, hey, you need to pay this to get in and out of the country. I didn't know about it. I didn't think about it. It's a specific visa, whatever. Right? You got to budget for those things to make sure you're blessed by the best. In the chat, we have also sometimes TikTok will let you know when the discount trending days are for some places to travel. So I would save those dates. Yeah, yeah, 100%. Save the dates so you can plan accordingly. And then you can make sure that you're within your budget and you're living wonderfully. Okay, our third is a staycation. How many people love a staycation? Say I. I know I'm a homebody. I love staycations. Sometimes I like to stay closer to home, but it still needs a budget. Just because you're staying at home and you're chilling out, you still need a budget for it, right? You still need a plan for it. So local gems are wonderful to check out. Maybe it's a museum, maybe it's hikes, maybe it's a spa day, but you don't want to just go crazy on your staycation, right? You may not be going to work for a week, but you want to enjoy what you have wisely still. Yeah, we always still want to budget. You want to unplug and plan like if you're away. So if I was doing a staycation, to be honest, I would love to do a staycation with a private chef. Come to my house and cook for me for a week. I don't want to think about it, right? Maids, come to my house, clean for me for a week. I don't want to think about it. I'm on vacation. Like, I'm not doing my laundry. You know what I'm saying? Oh man, so you could really dress up a staycation. Just make sure that you budget for it. Okay. So here are some common vacation budgeting mistakes that people make. The biggest mistakes. One, ignoring the invisible fees, ATMs, roaming, baggage. Okay. No emergency buffer. You don't have money set aside, so you end up using your credit card to try and make things work. It's stupid. Okay. Don't put it on credit card. You didn't plan for it, man. You plan for it, then do the thing, but make sure you have your emergency buffer. Ah, here we go. See, I was just complaining about credit cards. Using credit cards with no repayment plan. So dumb. The credit cards, the fees are so much. You don't want to be in debt for that. It's not worth it, man. No daily limits, just impulse spending. It's like, hey, man, we're just living free up, no plan. Just, and then halfway through the trip, we don't have money left. Shoot, you know? Over planning activities equals burnout plus overspending. Don't plan and cram every single, don't be type A and say I'm the greatest at vacationing. I do all this stuff at once. Like, don't do it. It's not gonna be fun. You want to relax a bit, all right? Okay, travel is a value aligned investment, right? And for me, like I'm talking with my wonderful girlfriend. I'm telling her, look, I would love more travel if I was traveling to places and I'm looking at investments that I can make. I would be more excited to travel if as I travel to places, I can go to a seminar, I can learn more about myself, I can go to some sort of retreat, I can develop who I am internally, or I can learn ways to make more money. That excites me. So for me, travel aligned investment is investing in myself. So I'm like, I'll go there to do the thing. Travel is for transformation, not just for temptation. Okay. You want to become more than what you currently are. Travels are about memories, not materials. You're not just traveling to buy shit. You're traveling to remember and say, I remember, like, oh man, to walk on that beach and to feel the sand under my feet and the waves on my toes and whatever. I don't know. I got to swim with some dolphins. It was amazing. Whatever. The memories are more important than anything you could ever buy. Ever, ever, ever buy. Okay? And align every trip with your bigger life goals. Where do you want to be? You've already done vision cast and we've talked about this. What does 15 years from now look like? What does 5 years look like for you? What does 3 years look like? What is 1 year? What is 12 weeks? And how does travel play into that life goal? If you're writing the story of your life, how have you written travel into the story of that character? And how does it best align with who that character must become? Right? How does it align with the bigger life goals? Something a lot of folks don't necessarily think about. Budgeting gives freedom, not restriction. I know Debbie said it feels a little restrictive. I know sometimes it does, but we find freedom in discipline. So if you budget for it, you plan for it, you free up, spend as much. This is what I love. I'm like, hey, I put this much aside for food. I'm gonna spend all of it on food, and I'm gonna go crazy with it. Or I spend this much I put this much aside for attractions. I'm gonna freely spend all of that, and I've also budgeted for a percentage over. Plan ahead, track wisely, reflect after, and whether it's a staycation or a safari, make sure that it matches your values. Oh, and that is it for today's session. So stay tuned, stay tapped in, and I will talk to you guys soon. Have a great evening. Peace. Give them that creme de la creme whenever I spit that.